Love that. Ah. Oh, before I forget, talking about giving and gifting and stuff, we had a gentleman here on Wednesday who gifted us with a rendering of Dr. King and his own wisdom about his life that was phenomenal. Who was here for that? And you just talk to any of those folks, they'll tell you. But you don't have to listen to what they say. You can actually go to our Facebook page because we did post it to Facebook, and it's on the Simi Valley Facebook page. You can check out Gerald Rivers, his own life story, and also him as Dr. King for the closing of the season for nonviolence. It was just phenomenal, really phenomenal. So escaping the get habit. I was listening to the song, and I was thinking about how easy it is to get into the habit of getting, because all the, like when you the line about the apple, I mean, the apple, it just so loves to give its flavor to us, and the flowers. Oh my God, is spring just amazing this year? Don't applaud. I mean, yeah, applaud spring, right? Or thank you, I did that right. You know, people used to say that back when I was doing the weather. People would thank me for the weather. I'd like, really? But the most bizarre was when I had a woman walk up to me one time, and actually, boy, I'm starting out with tangents. I must be tired. So walked up to me and slapped me. Yes, yeah. She said, "You said it was not going to rain on Saturday, and it rained, and I had a party in my backyard, and I didn't order a tent because of you." I was like, "Well, when did you watch the weather? Tuesday? You watched the weather on Tuesday? You planned a party for Saturday? How long have you been watching weather? You should Saturday morning we could be correct, but not by Tuesday on Saturday. No way." Oh boy. Yeah, disclaimer. Right. I'm telling you, we are 96% accurate when we look outside the window and see that it's raining and say it's raining. Yeah. It's 96% even in that state. But everything is giving to us, and our senses allow us to get all that stuff. And when we get a gift, we love that. And man, the get, gimme in life is just powerful. I mean, think about it for a minute here. Like, my friend's got a Labrador. I made the mistake of throwing the ball. How you can't, get that ball. Here, throw it again. Get, go. Or the 2-year-old, you do something for a 2-year-old, do it again. Don't make it too complicated because you will be worn out because they love to get it, to receive it. But then I was thinking about everything as a gift, and I was blessed along with Andreas and with Maverick, and who else were the early birthdays in April this month, and Jim. We all did our birthdays this week, and some of us got some gifts, and it's nice to get the gifts. But as much as that's fun, it's that giving that's really the joyous experience. And we have something that we're here to give. But this idea of getting, it's such a distraction to our lives. And sometimes we even divert our attentions because we're so busy getting. And so we want to go out and get the latest gadget. And, people standing in line for 2 days to get an Apple iPhone that they're going to update that afternoon because, it's already not working right before you soon get it. I know, hey, I'm all Apple, but I'm in it to lose it. I mean, this is not to win it, But this it becomes a compulsion in our lives, and we really need to think about this a little bit. And so, how do we get out of that? And then I was listening to a poem. My dad sent me a copy of the Robert Browning poem Paracelsus, and it has that line in Prison Splendor in it, and that's where the imprisoned splendor came from. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. But I was reading Essential Earnest because someone in our discovery class mentioned Essential Earnest yesterday, and I thought, yes, I want to deal with that book a little bit. And in it he says, if man takes his images of thought only from his previous experiences, then he continues in bondage with those previous experiences create. And that, to me, has a lot of focus around this idea of getting. If we're so busy getting all the time, we're going to be in the bondage of having to receive stuff all the time, and we're going to find out, my experience is that focus on getting puts me in a position of sometimes feeling like lack or limitation or victim because I didn't get what I wanted, And so if I can flip the switch and escape the getting habit, and then I'm in the opportunity of creating new experiences that come from giving of myself. And we talk about the self-givingness of spirit in our teaching. That idea that God, spirit, universal presence, energy, whatever you want to call it, potato, whatever you want to call it, this thing has this loving idea that needs to be expressed. So it gives of itself so that we can all have expression. So giving is the first priority. It's the first principle right after love in the universe. That love inspires the universe to give. So our idea in life, our joy in life comes from the idea of giving. So let's go to this poem for a minute. The first stanza here. It says, this is Browning, Robert Browning, Paracelsus. Truth is within ourselves. It takes no rise from outward things. Whatever you may believe, there is an inmost center in us all, where truth abides in fullness and around in fullness, where truth abides in fullness and around. Wall upon wall, the gross flesh hems it in. This perfect clear perception, which is truth. Now hear that. Here's the truth. It's within ourselves, right? And it doesn't have any impact by outward things. It remains there. That truth is solid. It's the inmost center of each and every part of us, right? But we wall it up. Our gross flesh hems it in, this perfect clear perception, which is truth. A baffling and perverted carnal mesh binds it and makes all error. And to know rather consist in opening a way whence the imprisoned splendor may escape, than effecting entry for supposed light without. He's saying here that there's this truth within each and every one of us that is so magnificent, so perfect, so desiring expression, yet so patient and kind that it's not bursting to get out, it's waiting for us to release it. Our lives, our conditions, our experiences draw walls around that beautiful truth and wall it in and lock it in. And then our carnal mesh, I love that phrase he says for our human being, our human experience. Our carnal mesh, we're just a mishmash of stuff going on, right? And that just holds it back. It perverts this actual truth that's sitting clear in its perception. It perverts that truth. But then we make a mistake. We make a mistake. We think that it's ours to get. And in the getting, we're going to learn more and be more and do more. But in actuality, it's the opposite. It's the reverse. It's in the releasing. It's not the more that we get that shines a light, that light that you're about, that shines a light upon us so that new greatness unfolds. It's really that we give of ourselves so that we crack open and the light that is within us starts to shine out. The imprisoned splendor is released into expression. That's what we are. We're not an entry to receive the light. We're an entry to release the light. And that's the joy and the beauty right there in a nutshell of getting out of this get habit to express the divine that is perfect and clear. There's a story that I read recently about a guy who had 3 sons, and they lived in a very small village. And the father had to go on a very long journey. So he told the sons, I want you to take care of my properties. He gave the oldest son the olive grove to manage, and he gave the middle son the sheep to herd and to take care of. And the youngest son actually had a wonderful talent of dancing. And that was his talent that he left with the father, left with. And the guy was gone, and during that winter, it was really, really harsh winter. It was very cold and dank, and it was just rough. So much so that the storehouses were used up, and the people were thinking, what are we gonna do? It's cold. We're freezing, and they went to the oldest son, and they said, we're in trouble here. What can we do? Can we cut down some olive trees to burn the wood? And the son thought about it, and he says, okay, sure, go ahead. So they did. And then they started running out of food, and they went to the other son and said, can we kill some of the sheep to have something to eat and the wool to keep us warm? And, well, yes, okay. But the younger son didn't offer anything. He didn't give anything to the village. And after a while, when everything was used up, some of the villagers started to lose hope. and he actually left town. So when the father came back, the town was almost decimated. And he called his sons and says, "What happened?" And they explained what happened. And he says how he had to give up some of the olive trees. And the father said, "Oh, okay. And had to give up some of the sheep." And the father says, "Yes, okay. And to the younger son, he says, and what did you do?" He says, "I don't know, everyone was so sad. I didn't know what to do. It didn't feel right to dance." He says, "Wow. Well, I feel so sad right now. Could you dance for me now?" And the son got up to dance, but his legs were so stiff, he could barely dance because he hadn't given his gift. He hadn't given his gift. Doesn't matter how much you think you have to give, whatever it is you have to give, even if it's just to dance. Because the villagers left because they lost hope. The dance gave hope, you see. We must give our gifts. We must release that which is ours. One of the last things that Ernest Holmes did was to write a poem with his brother Fenwick Holmes called "The Voice Celestial." It's an epic poem. And there's a line in there where he says, "The mask or mist that seems to cloud the truth is not on nature's face, but on our own." We are the ones that hold back. We're the ones that sometimes don't dance. We're the ones that are so busy holding on to our olive trees that we don't give warmth to others. So busy holding on to our herd that we don't nurture the other. It's ours to actually give. We must release these things. We must release this imprisoned splendor. We must move beyond the gross flesh, beyond the perverted carnal mesh, and do something that is more. Because you see, the truth of the matter is, again, that going back to Ernest is just, he's on it. He was just on fire this week when I was reading him. Everything I read about it, I was like, oh, I'm going to use that quote. I'm going to use that quote. I'm going to use that quote. But this is the other one he says. "No two blades of grass are alike. No two grains of sand. No two thumbprints. No two of anything are alike, and nothing ever exactly reproduces any other thing." That's a message to every single one of us. We are that no two thing. We are that one thing that cannot be reproduced by any other thing. So we are that one thing that must give, must escape the getting, and move into the give, so that we can give that one thing that maybe you can beat Patricia next year at the Posse Awards with your song. Doubt it. But you know where I'm going, right? You see what I'm saying here? It's time for us to lift ourselves up and to jump into our special way. Because giving is the escape. You see, we're hardwired for it. We do it every day. We do it all the time. I mean, right now, you're doing it. You're not even thinking about it. You're giving. We're giving. That right there is nurturing nature. Every time we release a breath, we're doing something to heal the planet. And then what happens to the trees? They do the same thing. And when they release, we get to breathe. We're so interdependent and interconnected. And we forget. And it's such a basic process that we don't even have to remember to do it. Well, sometimes. What? Breathe. Okay. Yeah, right. Yeah, there are those moments. There are those moments. There's a Unity minister named Jim Fisher up in St. Paul where my dad goes to church. And he says, to get is breathing in, while give is breathing out. Enhance our circulation. Enhance your own respiratory experience by giving a little bit more. I'm not talking about the actual breathing thing. I'm talking about the living thing by giving just a little bit more. And when you do it with an attitude of gratitude. You know, there's a little boy who was told, this is a story from, who was this? It's one of the Spanish writers, Mexican writer, tells this story. Because apparently in his community, beggars were not looked down upon or frowned upon. It was just an experience of life they were having, and it was everyone's opportunity to help them. And a beggar came to his door, and it was a young kid, and the father told his son to give this young beggar child a toy. And so the boy went to get a toy, and he got one of his broken toys, and the dad says, no. Give him one of your new toys. My new toy? Yes, give him one of your new toys. So he went down and he gave the new toy to the beggar kid. And the face of this kid when he got this toy was so incredible that he ran back to his dad and says, "Can we do that again?" Right? There is something that happens when we give with an attitude of gratitude. The receiver is lifted up by it, and you're lifted up by it as well. There's a story that I heard about Thomas Jefferson. I don't know if this is true or not, but it does make a great story. Might be one of those things like a Lincoln quote on Facebook or an Einstein quote. Einstein and Lincoln said everything, you know. But apparently there was a guy standing on the side of the road on a winter day, and he was cold, and he needed to get back into town. It was too far for him to walk. And he was standing there, and he's waiting as these guys are riding by on horseback. And one guy goes by, and he just stands there and watches. A second guy goes by, and he stands there and watches. Third guy comes up, and he says, "Hey, can I get a ride from you?" And the guy pulls over, and he says, "Sure." And he tries to get on the horse, but he can't even get on the horse, so the rider gets off the horse and helps him up onto the horse and gets back on the horse and rides him into town. And after he gets into town and gets off the horse, the horseman says, "Why did you choose me?" He says, "Because I could see something in your eyes. I could see that you were a giving soul and that you would give to me." He says, "Oh, well, thank you." And then Thomas Jefferson got back on his horse and he rode to the White House. I actually Googled it, and apparently it's there because it's on Google. It must be true. We are in a really weird culture right now, aren't we? I'm gonna go write some truth today, put it on Wikipedia, and see if anybody quotes me next week, because it just works like that, right? But this process of giving, this process of moving from a get-receiving kind of person to a giving and sharing kind of person is transformational. It does awaken that splendor within. And the challenge is, it's not going to be like fireworks, you know. It's not going to be like a movie. Ding! It just happens, and makes people like come out and start dancing and everything like that, like they did in Isn't It Romantic? It's not going to come out like that. I mean, it could. There are these quick transformations, you know. Saul was walking down the road to Damascus. Ding! And he suddenly, there he is. He's got the light, and boom! I'm going to be Paul now, and I'm going to write half the Bible, you know. These things happen, you know. Muhammad walked into a cave, just kind of hanging out, trying to get away from Fatima, because, you know, sometimes husbands need to get away from their wives. So here he is, sitting in his cave. Bing! A voice. Right. What? Right. I'm illiterate. Right. I'm illiterate. Right. Then, of course, he goes home. He says, this voice in the cave was talking to me and said I should write, but I'm illiterate. And Fatima, because wives know you want to talk to the boss or the woman in charge, right? Wives know. And he said, you should go and write. So he did, and now we have Islam. We have that's where it came from. You know, and here's Abram walking around and, you know, in his sandals, kind of hanging out with his old long hair and everything. And all of a sudden his voice comes in, boom, you know, and bing, the light comes on. And now he's Abraham, the father of a whole religion and a whole people. This stuff happens. But likely for us, it's going to be kind of a slow transformational thing. You have to give a little bit today and a little bit tomorrow, and then one day you'll be ding, the light will come on, and you'll know that you've received the gift. Your imprisoned splendor has escaped. This is the journey that we get to take. Kevin Griffin, in a wonderful book called One Breath at a Time, explains this a little bit. He says, the gradual process of moving incrementally toward awakening seems blasé in comparison to the inspiring stories we hear. So, you know, don't get discouraged. Don't get it twisted. It'll take its time, but it does happen. And when it happens, wow, it just feels so good. I love going to the Samaritan Center. I don't Marie Kondo my house at all. I Samaritan Center my house. I go and I hold stuff. I go, ooh, who would like this? Yes, they would. Oh, they would like this too. And I go down there like once every couple of weeks with a bag of stuff. You know, my whole thing is trying to get down to 2 plates and 2 cups, and because it's just me and Johanna. You know, we're trying to get it down because there's just so much stuff. And you'll know I've succeeded because I'll invite you all to dinner and I'll say, bring your own place setting. That's when I've had my ding moment. I'll come in here glowing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There was a guy that was playing music. A guy named James was playing music at a senior center, and one one of the ladies, it was at Christmas time, they're doing Christmas carols, and one of the ladies looked at him and says, "My, you're happy." And he says, "Yes, I am happy because I love playing the guitar." And she goes, that's the secret. He says, "Yes, that is the secret, to give. And if you don't mind, I'm going to keep playing." And he kept playing the Christmas carols because that is the secret. That is the secret. So we get down to the bottom line is using our gifts, using our talents to be ourselves. Again, from Kevin Griffin, he says, "The secret to happiness is giving, not getting. And freedom comes through openness and letting go." The Persian Gulf War, the one with Kuwait. A guy named Najib Bastaki is his name, from Kuwaiti. He was recognized as being the leader of a resistance during that time. This resistance had no guns. What they would do is pass notes among each other about who in the villages didn't have enough food or water or clothing or money. And they would hide stockpiles of water and food and money and clothing at different people's homes. And then at night, they would pass notes. And the next morning, you might wake up and find some money under your doorstep. Or maybe someone would put a can in front of your house that would be filled with some food for that week. That was their resistance fight. He alone gave away $10,000 during that time. Because he recognized that there's this oneness that we're all a part of, and that when we give our gifts, we're celebrating that oneness. But he also recognized that oneness is not sameness. And everybody has their own unique experience and their own unique opportunity. And the way to bless and express that great opportunity is in the experience of wholeness. And what makes me feel whole, and I think it makes you guys feel whole too, because I know we do a lot of giving as a center and also as individuals. And it's because we have learned to escape the get habit, release the imprisoned splendor, and move into the giving habit. And that's the joy of the day. And so it is. So let's try this again. Joyful giving opens the gate for my imprisoned splendor's escape. It's release. Let it go. Yes, indeed. So it's time for prayer. Thanks, Maggie. I like our new God candle here from Dr. Susan. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. The light of spirit. Got it. Thank you. All right. So this is when we go into our healing prayer moment. We do a group treatment. And if there is an experience or a condition of your life that you'd like to see moved into its wholeness and its fullness, we'd like to let some light shine upon that experience. We're going to do that in prayer together. And I invite you to send out names into the room or situations or conditions into the room that we would like to hold in prayer at this time. And I welcome those suggestions and those knowings right now here. Patricia, our chief executive and all leaders. Oh, dear friend, Mother, Father, God, divine, loving presence, I know you by many names for being a true lover of you and you a lover of me. We have pet names for each other because that's just what we do. So, dear God, my pal, my companion, my great spirit, I recognize you now in a conscious way, knowing that just like the breath that is always breathing, the heart that beats without my single recognition of it, if I don't want to, it's still doing its thing. I know that even if I don't think about it, you're still doing your thing, dear God. You're still blessing and healing and prospering. And we are all one in that experience, for your reach is infinite. and your love is bottomless. And we are your eternal expressions. So recognizing that relationship and knowing that it is one that is based on love and that it unfolds in a perfect and divine way through a law that is beyond our understanding but definitely available to our use. For we know there is a power for good in the universe, and we are indeed using it as it is using us. And in this moment, we recognize that we are using it to bring into the experience of all those we spoke about that perfect, joyous way of life that heals, that provides, that uplifts and supports. Divine harmony is breaking out everywhere. Peace is breaking out everywhere. Love is blanketing everything. Prosperity is supporting it all. Ideas are creatively flowing and manifesting, becoming real as experience in the lives of all those we love and care for, and even those that we don't know that we love and care for. For that is your gift to us. And we receive and we share, just like the inhalation and the exhalation. We put it into circulation, and in this moment, with gratitude, we let it go. We release it and let it be yours. And so it is.